Hi folks, Matthew Lanigan here with BayWa RE. I still see people signing in, so we'll just give it a minute or two and we'll be right with you. Thank you. Hi folks, Matthew Lanigan here again with BayWa RE. I'm the Chief Commercial Officer here with BayWa. Really appreciate you taking the time to be with us and our fantastic partner, Polar Racking. A couple of housekeeping notes before we get started. This will be recorded, so it will be up on our YouTube channel. If you haven't signed up for our YouTube channel, we'd really appreciate it. You can find this presentation as well as all of our previous ones. This will also be released in our newsletter next week. We will be taking questions. The questions we'll field them at the end of the presentation. But if I could just have somebody test the questions box, maybe someone just say hello just to make sure everything's working. Great, thank you, John, appreciate that. Continuing education is really a big part of the way we do things here at BayWa and our culture, so we're happy to extend that to our customer base as well. So once again, really appreciate you being with us. So without further ado, would like to introduce Keith Roy, Senior Manager of Construction, and Joe Thibodeau, Western Sales for Polar. So without further ado, gentlemen.
Good morning, everyone, and afternoon for some of you as well. My name is Joe Thibodeau, and I'll be working here today with Keith to bring you this presentation on our options and what we supply through BayWa. So I come from a 7-year history in the renewables sector. I started with Polar in January, so is I'm still a bit new to the company, but we've been getting along great, and there's lots of opportunity here, so we're very excited to bring this this information to you. I'm joined today with Keith, who is one of our in-service field technicians. I'm located in Calgary, so I handle the west, so I handle everything from Manitoba to BC. And then Keith, and he's not here today, but Andrew Golding is also another in-field service technician who will be in this area as well. So we do go to site, we do help check out your projects and make sure everything's running smoothly when necessary. So please make note of my email and phone number at the beginning should you have any questions or you need anything. But primarily, I know you guys will be operating through BayWa. So I'll let you introduce yourself there, Keith, real quick. I think you might be on mute there, Keith.
I was definitely on mute. Sorry, it's Keith Roy here. Basically, I'm the field manager for Canada and the US. I've got team members out east, out west, down in the States, and all over the place. So I've been with Polar for 10 years, and able to answer any questions you guys have coming up. Back to you.
Perfect. All right, let's go to the next slide, please. All right, so welcome everyone. So today we're going to be covering a range of products, including carports. We're going to be helping you, giving you some ideas on selecting the ideal foundation type based on your site conditions. We're going to be covering CoreFlex for small to medium-sized projects, which is the primary product line that you'll be working with BayWa. As well as we will finish off at the end with a Q&A should you have any questions. Next slide, please. So about us, we're North America. We're the North American leader in the design engineering. Oh, I think we went back there one, Keith.
Oh, mine shows the bipolar racking slide.
Oh, strange. One moment. I'm just gonna have to. Oh, there we go. Coming up for me. Perfect. So we're the North American leader in the design, engineering, and manufacturing of PV-mounted systems. Our vision is to deliver the highest value to our clients at the lowest kilowatt hour possible. We're able to do this basically by offering a turnkey solution, which is modular, lighter, and quicker to install versus many of our competitors. We're a full service customer. We have full service customer support. This includes a variety of things, including engineering collaboration tools, technical services, and installation support. So by that, we mean that we have multiple reps all across the country. So we have myself and Andrew Golding based at Calgary, but we handle the West. Keith also comes out here as well. And then we have Matthew Crevier, who handles Ontario and Eastern Canada, and Keith helps support him that way as well. So we could be on, you know, should you have an issue or there's something that we need to come to site for, we could be on site as little as 12 to 24 hours. So we have a diversified portfolio that services multiple industry sectors, including commercial, community solar, and utility scale projects. So within that portfolio, we have our fixed tilt ground mounts. We'll cover all these in a moment. Oh, there we go, perfect. Yeah, you can just leave it here. So, so our primary product line that you'll be working with through BayWa would be our CoreFlex system. So this is the CoreFlex system is an off-the-shelf racking system available at BayWa. Generally, we like to keep this in stock. It's designed to meet the demands of Canada's climate. So it's, you know, built. We've designed this with the cold, the hail, all these things in mind. So we have options. We have everything designed into this product to make it the best it can be for our changing climates in many different areas. And we have the stamped packages for each province. It's a 2x8 panel system that can be used in with multiple foundation types. For our core, which is very similar to our CoreFlex, it's very similar to our CoreFlex, but it's designed to meet the specific project requirements and needs that you have. So if you have a much larger 5 megawatt system, we would end up designing a custom design for you, but it is very similar in effect to the CoreFlex. So our foundations, we do have a number of so we do have a number of foundations types as well. So we have helicals, which we fabricate ourselves, which we can work with you through BayWa to obtain. We have ground screws, we have the driven pile options, we have ballasted systems as well for pour in place concrete. We have gabion basket, just to name a few. Our shield line, that's a line of our carports, which we'll get into a little more detail later. We have our Solex system, which is a single access tracker system, which basically allows the panels to follow the movements of the sun to help maximize our output. And we have an agrivoltaic line as well, which is a portfolio of solar racking options designed to allow agriculture and livestock to coexist with this solar farm or the racking, or however you want to describe it. Next slide, please.
Should be there.
Oh, I think it's just a little delayed. Oh, and we'll move to the next one. So I'm just going to go to the shield slide there. Sorry, everyone. I think it's just a little delayed on my end. There we go. All right, so for our shield, we have a portfolio of carport options, which are highly configurable, easy to assemble, and are very cost effective. So we have a few different options, which include an L shape, T shape, Y shape, and long span. Though these various options will be what we would help you guys figure that out based on the layout of your site. Certain options are better for some than others. And we also have a variety of features for our carports, which include the fact that they're fully configurable, they're weather protected, we can have water management installed onto them, they're optimized based on your site layout, as I was describing a moment ago, and we also still offer full customer support on those options as well. So at this time, I'm going to just hand it off to Keith because he's going to get into the meat and potatoes of this, which is our core flex.
Thank you, Joe. Yeah, so just wanted to talk about the Core Flex system. This is our biggest seller with BayWa. It's the most versatile system we have. It's built to go anywhere in Canada, with the exception of a small area, which we'll go over later. You have to have the foundations designed specifically for your area, but we have everything from a single post, dual post, can fit the majority of available panels onto the system as well, and up to 1 megawatt in size. This is a very practical system. It doesn't need the special engineering for each site. You're able to design foundation site specific, but still have the feasibility of the rack off the shelf. It comes with galvanized steel G90, but let's just go through it and we'll basically go through the product, through the details, its features, and all the adjustability it has as well. So this score system's been around for quite a while. We had started mainly in Ontario, moved out east pretty quickly, and moved out west as well. We survived out west out east during Fiona in September 22. We had Fiona go through. We had, I think, 9 or 10 fully installed Core Flex systems that survived the storm with zero issue. We had a Core system, which is the larger version of the Core Flex, so site specific, up in Summerside, PEI. It took the brunt of the storm, getting 177 kilometer an hour winds, knocked out power to 95% of the island. But with the exception of 24 modules and 4 rails that were not properly bolted down, the nearly 3 megawatts of installed panels were all untouched. So we had very minimal damage for such a severe storm on a site that was under construction. So we are built for Canadian climates. We've survived the hurricanes, we've survived the snow load, we've survived the frost. So our main system is a kitted 2x8. This is pre-approved for everywhere except for Quebec, essentially. If you are in a territory that doesn't have approval and you're not in Quebec, we can get you that approval. We just haven't had the need to do it so far. You come with a pre-stamped package, so as long as you meet the upcoming requirements, you get a stamp package to submit for any requirements you need as well. Also, they're currently in stock with BayWa, so if you need any, you can get them off the shelf pretty immediately. This is the package we get, the data sheet from the trade shows. We're going to make this downloadable or pass it along to BayWa as well. So it has a lot of the just generic information for wire management, structure, formatting, and all that fun stuff. And it's a general layout of the system. So if you have the larger panels, you'll see there's a gap in the middle for the smaller panels, and then the larger panels just go end to end. It is very modular based, so you're not going to get 100 panels long touching with no seams, but this is designed so that each table can work independently and not count on the others. So if you have a site that you don't need a layout for, you can just go and build them wherever you have to. We have some sites where they're built on the side of a hill, so they put 5 tables here, 5 tables there, and go everywhere. This next sheet shows the already pre-approved list of modules that are designed for this exact rack. If you have any questions or if there's a panel that happens to not be on this list, again, you can download this list from BayWa at the end of the show and find out if your panels for some reason are not on this list, then it's very likely they could be. It's just we have to stop at some point and we just do like the 20 to 30 most common panels and put them on here. But most panels fall within the requirements. And this is, again, the rest of the design package goes over the parts, the assembly, often needed for submittal for any building codes or submitting to the community before you go live with your system, but this is the part of the package you'll receive once you're complete and you meet the foundation requirements. So just going over the general parts, you have your A-frame, which is parts 1, 2, and 3. That system could be a single post or a dual post, depending on what you end up choosing. There is most commonly stocked is a dual post system. However, there is a single post conversion kit, which BayWa, I believe, has now. I know that was something we were talking about years ago, it feels like now, but I'm 90% sure you guys have the conversion kit to turn a dual post into a single post. And again, that comes down to your foundation decisions later. You've got your larger east-west beams. So they're what take the brunt of the labor. That's your beams number 6 there. They're gonna hold all your modules up. They give you your spans. And then you have your panels, your clamps, and we're gonna go over all the adjustability and all the connections on the next slide. So biggest thing about our system, aside from it being extremely durable, is the adjustability. It has by far the most forgiving foundations out of all the systems that I've ever worked with. It has 2 inches vertical up-down tolerance after the foundation is installed. You have 3.5 inches each way in the north-south direction of the beam. You have another 2 inches east-west in the east-west beam clamps, and another 3/4 inch in the bracket. So if you add those all up, you could have a foundation that's off by as much as 7 or 8 inches and still have a beautiful transition. It can be off by even more and just not have a pretty transition. So it will still be structurally sound, it'll still be nice and secure, but you can build a beautiful site with the transitions using all these adjustments and getting away with foundations. I know a lot of the other foundations, you got to be accurate within quarters of an inch or an eighth of an inch. These ones you could do with a tape measure and be well within building tolerances and structurally sound and aesthetically pleasing. So wire management is a function of the system as well. If you have a single table out in the field, you don't want to build a fence around it. A lot of people can just use the C channel and add in like chicken wire over it to run your thing. The thing is fully integrated bonding, so you don't have to run any jumper bonders from the panel to the racking system. You're fully integrated. You're able to use the rails to hold everything in place, and you can just go from there. The clamps for the system now are fully integrated bonding. So if anyone's built with us in the past and you remember those bonding weaves that were a bit of a pain, they're no longer an issue. The clamps are fully integrated bonding. So there's no little washer you're putting between the modules. There's no special addition you're doing there. If you're doing the clamp method, it's just direct bolt clamp or clamp method, and that's fully integrated. So it just saves you time and effort on that. Here's the old bonding weave image. So if you were doing bonding weaves, that's the detail you'd follow. However, I believe the system that BayWa would have now is fully phased this out. So this is just if you have an older system and need to bond it, that's the bonding path you'd follow. But that weave has now been removed, so we shouldn't even have the slide anymore. But it's there for those who have a slightly older system. Next, we go over foundations. The foundations for this are very site specific driven. So if you're in an area like northern BC and you've got solid rock, your options are ballasted or some sort of above ground option. If you're on an island and the only thing they have on there is a driven pile option, that's an option as well. You basically need to design something strong enough to meet the loads, but this system can work with any foundation given ground screw, helical piles, driven piles, or ballasted. There's even some sites where it's directly bolted onto the bedrock of site as well with an epoxy and bolts. But again, those are very unique situations. But we'll go through the foundation types and options and then what you're looking for as well. So the CoreFlex system it's pre-approved by a third-party engineer, so you're all covered there. We have to look at the environmental forces such as lateral and axial loads for your area to make sure that the wind, snow, and frost loads are taken in and are normally the governing loads for those sites. Frost depths also matter as well, but again, this is going to come to your foundation supplier. Again, I believe BayWa has some foundations in stock for you as well, and here's the options we have. You have a helical pile, a grouted post, driven, ground screw, and a precast pour in place or precast geoballast. So basically geoballast is rock instead of concrete. But again, your areas are very, very dependent. West, you're going to see something more of a helical. You've got the nice ground with the odd rock. You're not going to, as long as you don't hit it with the helical, you're fine. A driven post in our northern climate is less ideal. It's just too frost driven. So if it has a surface area larger than a round post, it will get affected. And then we find ground screw to be the most practical for the dual post options. So dual post options, you're going to have a back leg and front leg, and then the thinner, smaller screws just go into almost any surface. The only thing it won't go into is gravel. So you can rock drill into rock, you can put it into clay, you can put it into mixed soils with the odd boulder, and it will just deflect off or go past it. So those are your main options. And then this slide just kind of goes, as you see, the ground screw is the most versatile. It can work in almost every situation, whether it's groundwater present, surface obstructions, or bedrock, but it just has to be pre-drilled first. So the micropile is more of a obstruction in bedrock, but cannot work in a groundwater site. And again, helicals can never go into bedrock. It's just not an option for them. So these are the loads you have to use when designing your foundation. They're going to see a single leg is obviously going to see a lot more axial and moments than the dual post. So if you have great soils and have access to larger helical piles, you want to go with a single leg. You're putting in half the foundations. They're a lot stronger, they're sturdier, and they just look better in the end too, in my opinion. The dual legs, not saying anything bad about them, but they have a very different load to them. So because there's two posts, the moment's almost gone because they share the load and don't allow a moment, and also the other loads are a lot lower as well. So if you have not as great as soils or only access to ground screws or want to just do a dual post because it is fairly simple to install, that's a very valid option. And again, dual post is the most common because it's the most likely to work, the most versatile, and it just works everywhere. So when we're selecting a design, basically you're looking at two major factors. You're looking at the wind load and snow load. The system works basically under the assumption of very worst case scenario situations. So we have to go with the rating for your area for the National Building Code. So for example, Edmonton, Alberta has a wind load of higher than 7, but a snow load of only 3. So it's outside the line, or it's below, sorry, wind load of 0.45 and a snow load of 3. So it's well below that line, so it passes. Pincher Creek, Alberta, which is basically the only place in Canada where we cannot build the system, is the wind load just puts it way past the line. It just can't handle that big of a wind load outside of the snow zone. So Pincher Creek, if you're looking at building one there, sorry, this is not the option. But if you had a site-specific design, we could also work for that as well. We have built in the Pincher Creek area. It just, you can't use this exact system. So here's where we find the frost depth design. You can go to the website there, climateatlas.ca/maps Canada, in the bottom left corner there, and then you can pull up the snow zone, the freezing days, the wind loads, and all that stuff for your area. Put it in that list that you saw, or graph you saw behind us, and see if your zone works. Again, as long as you're not in Pincher Creek, you pass. So just if you want to go through your specific area, here's again Edmonton and Pincher Creek. Edmonton has the lower frost evaluation, and so it's just, again, a safer system, and that's why it works in Edmonton versus Pincher Creek. Desktop evaluation, a lot of these decisions could be made on your own. If you're looking for help on this, or if it's your first one, or for example, you're doing it for a city or something, a public space, and you want some help with this, we can also assist you in these tables. So you can go through the groundwater table. We can look at the soil, predominant soils for the area, as well as the add freeze zones for that area. So we can help you. Most of these tables can be completed on your own. You don't need us to do there. So I'm going to pass this back to Joe for what makes our system unique. And Joe, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, everyone, I was on mute there. All right, so why Polar? What makes us unique? So with 15 years of experience under our belts, we have proven our knowledge and expertise within the renewables market, the Canadian climate, and our customer needs. We have end-to-end customer solutions and customer support, including anything from engineering, foundations, installation, construction, training, and project management. One of our big benefits is that we also have coast-to-coast support, including our local field service reps, which are Keith and Andrew, as well as myself and Matthew supporting the design process. Another big thing that we do is we design our systems for ease of installation. So for example, we use serrated nuts and bolts so that we don't have to use washers. If anyone has built one of these systems before, not ours, but just anyone else's, no washers basically means one less thing to install, but it also means one less thing that can get lost and needs to be replaced. So we do design our systems with these features in mind. We're also the only Canadian racking supplier able to operate at our scale and capacity. So I do want to leave you with the notion as well that although we are very, very big within Canada, we are also able to and capable of supplying racking for any product you may have in the US or abroad as well. So please don't hesitate to reach out if you do have anything that might meet that criteria. So guys, I'd like to thank you for joining us today for our presentation. I hope it was informative. Please reach out to BayWa if you do have anything that you feel that you could use our services for. We're happy to work through them and with them. So please keep us in mind for any of your core flex needs, but also for anything of a larger scale that you may require. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, folks. Just checking if there's any questions out there. So there was one around timeline and availability. So we do stock containers of this racking, the Coreflex across Canada. So they are at our 5 warehouses across Canada. Special orders, larger projects, you know, when we're talking about into the megawatts, we're looking roughly around 12 weeks. So I have a question here. What's the first next step? A site evaluation?
Right. So I guess the first thing you want to do is establish what foundations you want to go with. You can see the wind and snow loads from our table there. The local foundation, again, depends on what level you're trying to build this to, needs to be able to withstand those loads. So if you have a local supplier for foundations, I guarantee you they know the local ground conditions. So they'll be able to come up with a solution for you that will go in. Once you have your foundations picked, then it's just pick the system and build on top of it. So again, like they said, BayWa has this in stock. We do have support staff as well. So there's 5 of us on my team. So we do have someone everywhere. If you need just a phone call, we can always help. We ask you to go through BayWa first and ask them if for the help first before they reach out to us, but we can help you. If you've got a one table system, we can help you out. We've gone out to sites where they're putting multiple tables on the site where we can give in-field support as well. So it's first step is finding out what's in the ground. Next step is getting the rack and starting to build.
Yeah, customer service has been fantastic with Polar Racking, so that's one of the reasons we're dealing with them. It is a Canadian company, and yeah, it's been very successful. We've done megawatts on down with them. Very modular, very easy to install. But I don't see any more questions. So if you do have any follow-up questions, folks, please just reach out to the BayWa team. There's lots of inside, outside sales folks. Many of our team are very well versed in the Polar Racking product. Once again, this was recorded, so please go see our YouTube channel, and our newsletter will be coming out here shortly with details on this as well. Also, if you haven't signed up to our web shop yet, we'd love it if you did. You can find all the specs, the pricing, the install manuals there for Polar's product, as well as see your orders, pay bills. It's really a fantastic tool. And yeah, once again, thank you, everybody. Really appreciate the time. Thank you, Polar. Appreciate you helping us learn a little more on this product.
Hey,
And
thanks
thank
for having us.